All right, hello again. Welcome to another Bamsters Rated R podcast. This is episode 182, and we've got another Fireside chat for you. But real quick, if you missed last week's episode with Felix the Reaper, definitely go check that out, and make sure that you check out the game as well. It's a really cute puzzle game. I can't say enough fun and good things about it. It's definitely been a real neat one to look into. And I guess moving right into the episode then, guess who's back? Or should I do that in a Slim Shady way? Guess who's back? Back again. Bammy's back. Bam, say hello.
Good evening.
A man of few words.
No one on this planet has ever called me a man of few words.
So hey man, how you been?
Very well, very well. Been absent, as you very well know. Life gets in the way quite.
Yeah, how dare you have one of those?
Unceremoniously, yeah. How dare I have a life? How dare I have family problems? How dare I? I see your introductions have still eye gouging. Yes, still eye gouging.
You know what? I think it's what people come to expect, and I don't want to let them down.
Yeah, okay.
So, since you're getting back into the swing of things, have you been able to pick up your, controller or sit down with the keyboard and mouse and start playing anything recently?
Well, yeah, actually. Games I've been playing lately, mostly due to my wife. She thinks I was a bit stressed. Funny old thing. 2 weeks ago, today, she purchased me a copy of Anthem. She said she knows that, I really wanted to play the game beginning of the year, and she knows that the game itself was a complete and utter failure. But she said, here, £15 for the Light of Dawn or Legion of Dawn edition, whatever have you. It was like a £90 version of the game when it came out. £15. Here, play it. I'm like, okay, cool, no problems, I'll play it. I tell you what.
That's a pretty impressive sale, actually.
It wasn't even on sale, dude. That is the price on Amazon. 15 quid, Legion of Dawn, right? I tell you what, I've got my £15 worth out of it. I've been playing it for 2 weeks, most nights, and I'm like, Masterwork Colossus, Masterwork Ranger, Masterwork Interceptor, and the ghosty floaty dude, whatever you want to call him. I tell you what, it is amazing. That's it, Wraith. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's a good game. And the characters of Hullock and Faye and Owen, particularly in the beginning, really enjoyed his banter and the character that he played and whatever. And for £15, I can't knock it. I really can't. I can't. The game is empty. It's barren. There's cycled. It's continuous cycles, right? There needs to be more content within the game, and I only hope next year there is that.
You're assuming the game will last that long, which hopefully... Look, you're right. The gameplay itself is a lot of fun. When I was playing it, I was having fun with it. It is a lot of recycled and rehashed content, unfortunately, so it does tend to get a little bit old, and the loot grind, unfortunately, just... I don't know. There wasn't really a lot there to keep me coming back. There aren't any really unique things to chase. I don't know. It's just the story I felt okay. So going all the way from the beginning, when I played when the game came out, and I didn't buy the Legion of Dawn edition because I wasn't going to spend that much on it. But I don't know. Partway through the story, I just started skipping things because it just kind of got boring, and I was thinking that I was going to kind of just push myself and rush towards the gear grind. But by the time I got to that, I kind of didn't care for the gear grind. But the gameplay itself, flying around, the shooting things, it's a lot of fun. There are some changes I wish that they would make to the way things work. Like, for instance, I don't know if you've gotten annoyed at all with the length of time that you can fly through a map. You know, if you're not in combat, why do I need to worry about overheating my javelin?
Well, being in a Colossus, I do understand that I'm a heavy clanker, and I have limited resources. So, put my feet on the ground now and then, dive into the water, explore the lands, go into the deep dark caves and caverns and find loot boxes and bits and pieces. Quite like it. You have obviously had a very different experience to what I have. I can't put the game down. It's a good game. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I get, certain realism with things, but at times I think you can have it's a pendulum, and at certain points you can swing a little bit too far towards being a little too realistic with things. It is, after all, a video game, and, none of this stuff is real. But I don't know. To me, it's just a quality of life thing. Like, if I need to fly a long distance, why do I have to keep jumping down on the ground? I'm not going to be stopping, and, if I'm trying to reach an objective, I'm not going to be running in and out of caves constantly. And plus, with the little tether that's on there, if your teammates get too far ahead of you, you get pulled in anyway. So it would be nice if, at least when you're out of combat, there was no need for there to be that overheating mechanic. I will say the world design, it's a really neat looking world. I like the verticality of the levels. I love, how that stuff has been designed. The creature design in there has been pretty cool. There's a lot to really like about Anthem if you dig into it. It's just that overall, big picture, I guess for myself anyways, it got a little too stale after putting a bunch of time in it.
Well, I'm very disagreeing with you on that. Very disagreeing. Lovely England right there. I disagree with you quite a bit. This isn't like a space sim, Essentially, I do feel like I'm Iron Man. If you want to have that sort of gameplay, go play Destiny. But then in Destiny, you can't really fly unless you're on your power scooter type thing, right? That's not necessarily flying either. It's a lot of people try and compare it to Destiny, and it really isn't. The reason why the game looks so good is because it's basically Frostbite 4, isn't it? A Frostbite 4 engine, whatever, that they've had to basically butcher, cannibalize, and basically patch together to actually make this work. So you probably find it's game engine limitations. It's the reason why you can't constantly fly. So they've had to put an overheating mechanic in there so the game can render out in front of you. There has been one or two instances where I've actually flown to the extent with my party and the game is still loading up in front of me and I can see patches and blocks and bits and pieces all loading. But, I know this game launched with 2 years still needing develop in it. So I am willing to forgive these things, especially for 15 bloody pounds, I'm not grumbling at that. 15 pounds. Seriously, guys, if you guys want a game to play and have a bit of a fun and kick about, it's 15 quid. I think I saw the standard version for like 9 pounds. 9 pounds. You can play Anthem. Hallelujah. 9 quid, man. You can't, and it's a AAA game. Well, AAA as ish. Well, with there's certain issues in it, and honestly, the maps and bits and pieces are fine. But for me, it's the user interface. That's the bit that for me that's most frustrating. Is because you've got to load and load and load and load, and then when you think you're finished loading, you got to load again.
Well, see, now playing on console, I would have thought you would have been more used to that. On PC, a lot of times that gets really super frustrating. I'd say more so for PC folks because we should be able to just click on things and go right there. But the menu system, the UI it definitely needs a complete overhaul.
Dude, stop being such a rush, bro. This is why you're flying, son. To take in, to view the vistas and whatever have you. Take your time, son. Take your time.
You made a good point, though, about it loading, because when the game first released, you couldn't even run in the social, well, it's not social space, but in the single-player story space that you wander around in Fort Tarsis. There was no run option. You had to walk slowly around that entire thing. And then they said that they enabled a run option, but I'm not even sure if it's really all that notably faster.
It isn't.
And a rumor that I heard was it had to do something with, rendering that stuff out and loading times and performance issues. So, yeah, you may have a point with the heat, the overheating on the flying for rendering stuff out.
That's just what made sense to me, I mean, why else would they put overheat function when you can just fly and basically turn in every which bloody direction, and the engine needs to know where you're going, how fast you're going, and where you're going to get there, sort of thing. But other than that, I'm really, really enjoying the game. Like I said before, I'm a 794 masterwork or whatever. Loving it. Grandmaster 3 kick ass, man. Cataclysms bringing come, son. I just hope to God they fill this world out, because right now it's a skeleton and I just want to put some meat on them bones, because you can see where they've pulled the pay to win options and the loot box gambling options. You can see where the game's actually missing, and there's bits and pieces that have been fucking surgically pulled out, and they've managed to somehow put this game together without those pieces. Is actually quite remarkable. It does remind me of Destiny 1. The storyline, however, is 10 times better. Way better than Destiny 1. I keep referring to Destiny 1 here because Activision and Bungie butchered that game to within an inch of its life with the linear story. Made no chuffing sense. Did not make any sense. You just go there, kill things, go there, kill more things. Apparently the storyline in Destiny 2 is much improved, and the gameplay and the way everything handles is much better, but I'm not going to be spending money on Destiny 2. I've got the free version, Forsaken, whatever have you, but like one of them coke and crack dealers, give the first bit free and they'll come back for more. No. Might try Destiny 3 because Activision are no longer in the picture, and it's just Bungie, a bit like with BioWare and EA. Let's hope to God EA does not close BioWare. I know they're working on Dragon Age. That is probably the only thing that's keeping BioWare alive, and Anthem is just, unfortunately, the leech on the ass of of BioWare, and I hate to say it about the game because you can see people have slaved and put time and effort into this game. I just hope to God they actually feed that skeleton and put some meat on them bones, because this is going to be a great game if they put their minds to it.
Well, and that's really the thing about Anthem. There's just so much potential there, and there's just things that really make you kind of shake your head or facepalm. That, you know, you talked about microtransactions, and which a lot of times leads to like cosmetic stuff. You know, even their storefront really needs some work. You know, they want to sell you things like character emotes, which okay, whatever. I mean, I'm not big on those, but I know that some folks are, and those can be kind of fun to goof around in a little bit when you're just standing there waiting for, you know, a teammate to catch up or something. But they don't have any, or at least the last time I loaded the game up, there wasn't a way to really preview what those emotes did. You got a static image.
Yep, and you still can't preview anything. You can't preview any armor. You can't preview the emotes. You just get a static image of it as well. Like
Sorry,
I said
my
before,
phone went off.
That's fine. As I said before, a lot has been taken out. And I think they just scrambled to try and reassemble the game as best they could with a few patches and a few bits and pieces. Now, I just hope to God they've worked this year gone and actually filled this game out a bit. And good lord, fix them loading times. And they don't start coming with me this nonsense about SSDs. My PS4 Pro's got an SSD in the damn thing. And the
Oh, that's right. This was one of those games that was called the loading simulator.
I tell you what, my PS4 Pro, right, I got itself an SSD because I hate loading screens, right? And it's still a pain in the rear end to load. Still a pain to this day. It's a loading screen. I didn't like Destiny's loading screens because it was just watching a spaceship floating in the atmosphere or in space, whatever. Them loading screens annoyed the living hell out of me because, you know, they were static.
Oh, but you know what makes those better?
Why?
See, I'll tell you what makes those better.
It better? How is a loading screen different from any other loading screen? What makes it better?
Well, okay. No, what I'm saying is what makes the Destiny loading screens better. A lot of times I'll be playing music, variety of different random, like, gaming music or whatever off of YouTube while I'm playing something like Destiny. And that music actually goes pretty well with the loading screen. So if they'd add in some really cool music, you know, picture, like, maybe even, like, some Guardians of the Galaxy, soundtrack type music in the background, then the loading screen gets a little bit less repetitive.
No, well, I can see where that actually might make sense, but if it all boils down to it, right, the best loading screen, if I had to pick one, comes from Warframe, where it's the same damn thing as loading screen, a spaceship flying through space. But you can move that spaceship, and you can customize the spaceship any which way you want. Whereas in Anthem, you just get a pretty picture with a red bar across top, a typical loading screen, 1990s loading screen. Destiny was, I'll say, modernish, where you get to see the paint skin on your car, or plane, whatever have you. Warframe, next level, customize that thing as much as you want. And you get to move the damn thing around in the floatiness of space as a loading screen. So there is something to do. But good lord, loading screens. Fix the loading screens.
Yeah, I think we've kind of come to a point where we're expecting more out of even things like that. But I don't know. If the loading screens weren't so long at times, it wouldn't be that bad,
Well, the last loading screen I had issues with was the ones out of, I think it was Division. They had a loading screen issue that was quite long and laborious and tedious and treated with as much malcontempt as anything else. But it's still loaded faster than this game, and it's frustrating. It really is frustrating.
Well, we've mentioned Destiny a couple of times now. That's one that since Shadowkeep I jumped back in on. I took a break after the Black Armory stuff because I've never been that much into Gambit, and I'm finding it's fun to jump back in again. The grind is real for some of this stuff, though. Don't get me wrong there, but I don't know, man. You talked about the story and how it was all over the place with Destiny 1. I have little to no experience with Destiny 1 because I didn't play it on console. I didn't really start playing Destiny until it arrived on PC. The initial storyline, the whole Red War thing with the Cabal, is okay. It's not great, and after you've gone through it once, as a new player, it was kind of cool, but, after having done it once and then did it with the other characters and then helping somebody else get through the story, like, it's kind of boring. But the story started to get really good with Forsaken. That's where things got really interesting. And Shadowkeep, they seem to be kind of drawing the story out. The initial story parts that we got when Shadowkeep first released seems more like a prologue than a full-fledged story campaign. And it seems like they're doing this whole living world thing where the story continues to evolve week after week, which I'm okay with. You mentioned Destiny 3. I don't know when we might see a Destiny 3. The way that they're continuing to develop Destiny now, it kind of looks like it's just going to be adding more and more and more and more to Destiny rather than us getting like a third game.
Well, I do hope that's the case, because they didn't need to launch Destiny 2. They just had to add on to Destiny 1. Now, what stopped them from doing that? I don't know. But they launched Destiny 2, and this is what makes me think they're going to launch Destiny 3 in the PS5, you see.
I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility. I'd just say that the way that they're developing this now, at least my impression is kind of that I think this is just going to be another one of those living worlds type games where it just continues to evolve over time, and we're going to see, additional story DLC maybe once every couple of years or once every year that will be something to get new players maybe interested in the game and bring new content for old players, more story content. They're continuing to do season passes, so there's additional seasonal content that's dropping along with, and I guess in some ways kind of extending past the initial story content.
Well, I haven't played Destiny 2 at all. I mean, I played a bit. I say that, but I played Forsaken. Whatever. Next, move along. Having just said what I just said with regards to Destiny 3 and PS5, that made me think, if Anthem is going to get shut down and servers are going to get pulled, they're probably going to do it next year before PS5 comes out, because unless PS5 is backwards compatible with Anthem, I don't know. We will have to wait and see, because that's now something that I've just thought of, and now makes me worried, because, I spent £15 on the game now, bro. I'm invested. 15 quid invested, son. I want to see I do want to see this one succeed, and I know we keep referring to Anthem and Destiny in the same sort of light, but let's face it, Destiny, with all its failings and cock-ups and mess-ups and whatever have you, is still the better game. Anthem is a shell of what it could be, so I do think the developers are either going to go one of two ways. They're not going to go hodgepodge halfway. They're going to pull the game completely beginning of the year, or they're going to actually push through and make it something, and then push it across to the PlayStation 5 with Anthem 2, hopefully, and I will buy it. I tell you what, I'm impressed with what I've got. I will buy it.
See, here's the thing, right? One of the reasons I think Destiny is so popular is because of the fact that the gameplay mechanics for Destiny are so much fun. Like, it's fun to jump into, whichever your preferred character is, be it Hunter, Titan, Warlock, whatever. And it's fun to be running around and, fast-paced shooting combat and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff feels good, when you're playing that. And, some of them... Some of the guns might take a little long to reload, but, depending on your perks, you can increase that. So the game itself, the actual core gameplay mechanics of Destiny are fun. And that's something about Anthem, too. Like, the core gameplay of Anthem is fun. I think it needs more tweaking, especially when it comes to, some of the guns and stuff like that. But overall, the actual core gameplay mechanics, the movement, the flight, Anthem is a lot of fun as well. So at least that's something that the two of them kind of share. And plus, we keep referring to both of them because they're both looter shooters, in addition to the fact that that's just what we've been playing lately.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. But going against the entire grain here, I've also been playing a lot of World of Warships. Now, after Paragon faded and fizzled and died, I have been stuck in a bit of a no man's land with games, picking up a few things, dropping a few things, whatever have you, since Paragon, because I really, really enjoyed Paragon. I've really, really enjoyed it. I can't begin to express myself how much I enjoyed that game. And I've been wandering around the universe with this sort of thing. That's the last time we played a game together was when we were playing Paragon.
That
is quite correct. And I've picked up World of Warships, and I'll tell you what, I really like that game. That is an excellent game. Excellent. Well balanced, well thought out, well laid out. I mean, they do need to populate the map a bit more with a few more warships and a few more grey floating battle canoes. But I tell you what, a lot of fun. Floating down the main strait in a Vanguard, right? A big badass dreadnought battleship going pop, 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 bang, bang, and oh yes, bang. I tell you what, there's no greater feeling watching everyone quite literally shit themselves, about turn, and run in the other direction. It's amazing. But you can also go the complete other way. You can play proper sneaky and drop your torps and thin skin and haul in the other direction. There's so many different ways you can play that game, and so many different types of play mechanics. I really, really, really enjoy World of Warships, and it's free. It's free.
Well, you can't beat that price.
No, you can't beat that price, dude? How can you beat free? It's that good. Honestly, it is a great game. The grind
I guess
is
the first
real.
question.
The grind is real.
So the first question I was going to ask is what the grind was like and what the microtransactions were like, because I don't begrudge a developer who has a free game out there that has microtransactions built in, but I am curious as to how that's all implemented.
Well, when it comes to commanders, right, I've got pretty much all of them. There's like one or two spattered about the place. I haven't spent a damn time on that game, right? I've got the best cruiser commander, the best destroyer commander. Okay, I'm still waiting for a British battleship commander. I mean, because come on, ex-Royal Navy gonna be floating me some battleships from Her Majesty's Royal Navy, bit patriotic. But I tell you what, great game. To get the currencies and the grind, that's the thing you gotta get, right? So don't blow all your money on the cheap nasties right in the beginning. Save your pennies, save your experience points, because when it comes to getting the Vanguard or the Myoku or the Miku, whatever have you, or my favorite one, the Fubuki, the slowest destroyer ever, but I tell you what, she hits like a truck. One torp, I tell you what, will pop you sideways. I love it.
Well, you talk about the grind a little bit, and I know I mentioned it before, but here's the thing. There's so many live service games nowadays, and there's only going to continue to be more. We've got Division 2 just added additional content, but that came out this year. Ghost Recon had Breakpoint that came out, which was a sequel to Wildlands, which wasn't that old, and it's another live service game. Ultimately, what it comes down to, in my mind, is you pick the game that has the grind you're accepting of. Because all of these games are going to have a grind. But you pick the one that's fun, that has a grind you can deal with, and that's probably going to be the game you spend time in mostly anyway. So, if you end up spending a little bit of extra cash, supporting that game, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Or you can be a complete cheapskate like me, spend no money on it, and actually enjoy yourself whilst grinding. I tell you what, the Fubuki, man, no word of a lie. I've got an 11 kilometer, I think it's 11 kilometer, or the torpedo range of my Fubuki is freaking phenomenal. It is inhumane, because of the upgrades and bits and pieces you can actually store in the Fubuki. It's like an 11 kilometer freaking range torpedo Fubuki. You just pop, turn, and then like 30 seconds later, kill.
Jeez.
It's great, man. It's great. And there's an Acaster as well that's like a Fubuki but thin-skinned. So you basically gotta, and it's quite quick. So you gotta turn, drop your stuff, and get out. Whereas a Fubuki can sort of stand and fight and hold its ground. I love me some Jap destroyers. The Brits and their battleships, that's the way to go. British battleships. The Americans cruisers, I tell you what, the Pensacola is something to freaking be scared of. When you see a Pensacola, run. I tell you what, the Pensas run, dude, because I tell you what, nasty Pensacolas, nasty.
Yeah, you're just throwing out terminology and stuff out there. I'm not former Navy and haven't played the game, so I don't know much of what any of this stuff is.
Pensacola is a cruiser, right? In the game, it's a cruiser. It's quite a high tier cruiser, and a cruiser is basically the working ship. It can drop torpedoes, it can fire, right? It can fire armor, and it can do a lot of damage in a very short space of time. Battleships are like snipers, if you think about them. The long range, hit like a truck, and if you get clipped by these things, you're going down, right? Destroyers, thin hulled, they're only really good for one thing, and that's torpedoes. And the torpedoes is what makes them lethal, because you only need about 4 or 5 torpedoes to hit a ship, and you go down. You sink like a brick. Now, when you mentioned the grind and the pay to win or pay mechanics, whatever have you, I haven't had need for any of that. Honestly, and it's a very different game to PC. With the PC, you have to pay to do certain things to your commanders. You have to pay to add a commander, to upgrade this, to do this bits and pieces. In Legends, you don't. It's mostly all about the game. You can switch your ship's commanders many times as you want. You can switch allegiances or inspirations as many times as you want. You can upgrade and switch the upgrades on your warships as many times as you want without having to pay a dime. Now, there's a lot more that can still be done to the game, and I'm pretty sure there is, because there's carriers still need to be introduced. I cannot wait until they launch the Ark Royal as a carrier, because I served in the Ark Royal. I served on the Iron Duke as well. Not these particular ships, but the ones in, the actual floaty warship banger canoe thing, right? And the first ship I saw, the Iron Duke, I said, I want the ducky dude. I want the Iron Duck. Went straight for the duck, and I got it. I tell you what, that ship hits like a train, man. If it's up against another battleship in the same tier, it will nail nail you to the freaking door, man. It really will. It's a good warship.
Okay then.
Can you tell I'm salivating over the game? Because honestly, I
bit.
really, really enjoy World of Warships. Really, really enjoy it. And that's no one telling me to say that, by the way, right? If I don't like the game, I want to damn well tell you. I'm enjoying Anthem. I'm enjoying World of Warships. I still play Battlefield 4 because that, for me, is still the only real Battlefield. You know, Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 or whatever you want to call it with World War II. Nah, not having it. Nonsense.
Oh, well,
nah.
you always talked about in Battlefield liking to shoot down helos with RPGs and stuff.
I love that.
You can do that in Breakpoint too. Ghost Recon, you can shoot down helos. You don't even need an RPG.
Well, think about this, right? You're running down from I call it the Boba Fett map. I keep forgetting this. Where the train line goes straight through it, and you're running down. You see this freaking hind come at you. What's not hind? I haven't played the game in a long time, right? Helo coming straight at you. It's blowing left and right. You turn, you whip out your RPG, you squeeze around off, and I tell you what, it goes pop. The best feeling ever in a game when you blow a bird out the sky and the guy goes, WTF, that guy hacked, and you're like, nah. I did like a 3 videos where I blew 1,000 helicopters out the sky. Myself, a guy called Damage Goods Bruce, Al Divot, and Hero 10, right? We took upon ourselves to blow 1,000 helicopters out of the sky, and we did it. We did it in about a week. In a week, us 4 knocked out 1,000 choppers, and I've got those videos on this channel somewhere, whatever have you. Loved it, man. I loved that game.
You know what that reminds me of? Oh man, I'm gonna feel a little bad saying this, and gonna feel a little bad as a PC Master Racer saying admitting to this. But do you remember GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64?
Never played it.
Have you seen any videos of it, or are you familiar with it at all? Though
no.
So it was a more or less it was in the time period of shooters where in the old school shooters you couldn't look up or down. With the Nintendo 64 and the controller built the way it was, you had a button you could hold down and then you could look up or down. But I don't think that you could actually move at the same time. And I would love playing games with rocket launchers, especially, the Temple. Something about those maps and me playing at the time, I had them memorized, and I also could pay attention to all 4 character screens on the TV at the same time. So we'd literally be running through there, and if you were watching my screen, you'd see me running around, and I'd switch to my grenade launcher. I would spin around, shoot up in the air at nothing, spin around and run off again, and then on one of the other 3 screens, a grenade would come down and land at somebody's feet and blow them up, and they'd be like, what the hell just happened? It was so much fun.
That's the thing about video games, right? It's nostalgia. It's all about nostalgia. And that's something that Nintendo know very well. Don't get me started on Nintendo. Nintendo basically sell nostalgia. That's it. But like Disney, but Nintendo.
Yeah, but you know what? It sells. It makes money. So I was a little surprised that when Link's Awakening came out and that it was $60. I kind of expected it to be $30 or $40. I was a little disappointed it was $60, actually.
Welcome to the real world. You and I are going to be paying Nintendo real world money, not pretend money no more.
Well, I haven't paid it yet. I'm waiting to see if it comes down to like a $30, $35 price range before I pick it up.
Yeah, dude, give it 9 months. It'll be 15 quid on Amazon.
I don't think it's going to go the same route as Anthem.
When did Anthem launch, Hank? Did it launch in January or February?
I'm pretty sure it was February is when it launched. I think it was like mid-February.
8 months. 8 months. It's dropped from £90. Legion of Dawn. I believe Legion of Dawn was £90 launch, right? Down to 15. Good God.
Yeah. Like I said, though, that game still has a lot of potential. Actually, you know what? One of the things I wanted to ask you, because I haven't loaded up Anthem in, a while now. The last time I loaded it up, the Cataclysm event was going on, and I think it was early days of the Cataclysm event, maybe within the first, I want to say maybe second or third week that the Cataclysm was going on. I know they're doing their Halloween event right now, and I've seen some pictures of some of the armor sets that you can, work towards grinding out. That actually, a few of them look pretty cool, but what is the event? Is it much different than the Cataclysm? Have you played the Halloween event yet?
All I noticed was that the ground found was green and smoky. There's some skeletons lying around the place. There's a few flaming skulls. You gotta go looky-loo and find the bits and pieces, which I haven't done. I haven't done the cataclysm just yet because I don't feel confident enough to actually do it right. I mean, I dabbled, but then I realized I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so I got out. And I'm just basically grinding my way through Grandmaster 3, essentially. Doing missions in Grandmaster 3, and that's what I'm doing. Because I haven't completed all the missions because it is a little bit of a story loop. I've done the main story arc, which was very cool. I liked it. Just waiting, doing legendary mission, couple of tyrant mines, strongholds. It's actually a lot of fun. I like it. I do like it. I'm gonna go try the cataclysm in about 10 minutes when I've finished speaking to you. So I've got a mate of mine, Kane, cracking player. He knows his stuff. He floats around in a ranger or a interceptor because he likes them slice and dice daggers, and he likes his.
The interceptor's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a lot of fun to play.
The only problem with the interceptor is that they made him too much, in a way, glass cannon. The beefiness of the colossal makes sense, but here you have this interceptor whose attacks are primarily melee attacks, and he can't take a lot of damage, which is very frustrating anytime you have a boss encounter, because basically it relegates the interceptor to just taking care of the ads. It's very difficult survivability wise with the interceptor to get in on a boss and stay there for any length of time to try and do some damage.
I disagree. What you've just described to me there was that you haven't built your interceptor correctly.
Possibly, that is correct.
My interceptor gets in, slices and dices and chops several strips off you, and then gets out. That's part of the rapidness, the quickness. And you basically turn around a corner and you go back again. Slice, dice, chop suey, ninja, bang bang, done.
Well, it may not be have less to do with how the interceptor is built and more to do with how I was trying to play the interceptor.
Were you trying to play him like the rogue in D&D? That's not how you play him, son.
Well, and here's the other thing too, and I don't know. I know that initially when they first released the game, and then I think they patched it and made some changes, but like there are certain ways you have to attack certain bosses too that require you as the interceptor to like jump between attacks. So you have to like jump up, attack a couple times, then jump up again, because there were no places that you could actually hit and do damage at ground level. And that process could be a little bit frustrating when everybody else can use their full attacks and just kind of stand back and aim.
Again, I think it's just a case of you not playing the interceptor correctly, Sunshine.
It's entirely possible.
Perhaps you'd be better suited with maybe a ranger or a colossus. I'm having a lot of fun with my colossus. I really like my colossus, really do.
The colossus, the beefiness and like the power attacks that the colossus has are nice, but I just can't. I don't have the patience for how slow he is. The ranger is fun, and the wraith is actually pretty fun too. The wraith can do some real nice damage and stay back at distance. So I had some fun with the wraith as well.
Again, I disagree. The Colossus is actually quite quick. If you know how to play the Colossus, it's quicker than the Ranger. Not as quick as the Wraith or the Interceptor.
Well, I definitely don't know how to play the Colossus because I didn't spend much time even trying to play him because I think I tried him out for a very short period of time and it was just too slow for me. And I was like, no, forget this.
No, the Colossus, you have to be quite deliberate in your intentions about what you want to do with him. Are you going to run him with your shield, bash people about, set off your sparkies, and then drop your fist, jump up, let your ultimate off, and then get the hell out of there because you've just basically dealt in all the damage, right? And you said stand back with your cloud point cannon or whatever have you and just let rip. You've got to be quite deliberate in your actions. You know where you want to go. Whereas the Ranger can get himself into a shit ton of trouble, but he can also get himself out. The Wraith just stands at the background, mate, hurling elementals. Basically, I think the Wraith is best suited for priming and the Colossus is best suited for detting. However, you can run it the other way, whereas the Colossus primes and the Wraith dets. Now, that's what Kane and I are working on right now. He's got a Ranger primer. I've got an Interceptor primer. I've got a Colossus primer. He's got himself a Wraith and an Intercept det, right? So basically, I'm running around with my Lightning, whatever have you, priming all these targets. And the Interceptor comes in and slice. Or when he's doing the Wraith, he just drops his detonators. And I tell you what, the freaking Horde is dead. The Horde is dead. Priming and detting is the way to play that game. Honestly, it is.
Yeah, see, I really need somebody else to just do all the figuring out of that stuff and then tell me what works best, because I just want to load in and play. I don't want to sit there and figure that shit out. I just want to press buttons.
You can prime and det yourself. You've got to. I keep forgetting what it's called, but it's an area.
No, I know what you're talking about. The
lightning.
combo attacks.
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
different
yeah,
types
yeah,
of, yeah. No. Those are cool when they go off, and it definitely you can do quite a bit more damage with those.
Well, I'll tell you what. For this episode, I will download. I'll try and download. I'll try and download like a 15-minute skit of my Colossus basically priming and detting himself. And the amount of combos you can pull with just this Colossus is phenomenal. It's combo, multi-combo. I tell you what, it's freaking scary what this guy can do. And then when you have a Wraith detting on the Colossus priming, right, with the Colossus detting as well, I tell you what, it's just like, good night, see you next week. Boom, done. Great time to play. Great time to play.
All right, man. Well, it is good to have you back. Good to hear your voice again. I know you're eager, chomping at the bit to go play some Anthem, and I'm ready to go get back into some Destiny. I'm ready to go back into my grind for that.
Right, well, I said what we'll do. I'll try. I'm not sure PlayStation will allow me to actually pull more than 15 minutes at a time. I don't know if it will. But if it does, I'll try and get some footage for Anthem. I tell you what, you're going to love it.
I look forward to it.
Happy days.
And for those out there in audience land, thank you very much for sticking with us. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, all of the things, all of the buttons, ding all the bells, and we greatly appreciate it. Until next week, this has been Drac and...
Is this my cue?
Bamm Havoc.
Yes, guys. Well, thank you very much for, thank you very much for having me back. Like, seriously, loved it. Guys, my name is Bamm Havoc. I love all you peoples. I'll see you guys in a bit. Toodaloo, bye.